Good day, afternoon, evening, whatever time you may be watching this. My name is Matt Krikorian, and I'm going to be giving you the preview show of this Friday's program at Santa Anita. So, in the first race here, my selection. Well, first it's a 6 furlong turf race for 54,000 for maidens, 2-year-olds and upwards, fillies. And in this race, I've picked the number 5, What About Q, owned by the Delmar Group. Maldonado is on, with Doug O'Neill training him, as my top selection. Dandy Vandy would be my second selection. Now, let's talk about What About Q first. Sure, she hasn't done much running on the dirt, but when she ran on the turf, she only lost by 2 3/4 lengths. In third, put up for 5 furlongs, 56, which means that she ran about a 50, little bit faster than a 57-ish, somewhere in that area. When she went on the dirt at Los Alamitos at the end of June on the 30th, 57 for 5 furlongs. She came in third, 4 1/4 lengths off the lead, which just shows that she didn't like the turf that much. Then on the 27th at Delmar, she was sent out at 5.5 in a 75,000, clearly outmatched there. Came in fifth, 11 lengths away. But with this turf race going at 6 furlongs, I think that maybe the extra distance could give this horse more of an opportunity to catch up and get up closer to the pace. And the 3, Dandy Vandy, who has just got turf pedigree, bred by Without Parole from England, and Pigotia, also from England, trained by Phil D'Amato. And Antonio Fresu has got the riding assignment. Now, this field does seem to have some good horses, some of which I don't think should be running on the turf and should try and win on the dirt. But those are my top selections for this race. In the second race, it's a 6 furlong dirt event for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward, which have never won 3 races, for a claiming price tag of $20,000. My top pick in this is the number 1, Dr. Ray D. She's raced on the dirt once in her life, I think. Yes, once in her life she's raced on the dirt, and she came in third. And that was at Delmar on August 30th for a $20,000 price tag. Once again, another non-winners of 3. She came in third, half a length off the winner. But the main reason why I picked her was because she was running against somewhat of a higher classed field that shouldn't have been running in a 20 and more of like a 45,000 class field. The last time she won was back in January over in Gulfstream in an optional claiming of 35,000 on the Tapeta. And she did do pretty well there. Maybe she likes the Tapeta more than the dirt. That's a possibility. But she put up 102 and 4 by a head. So a good enough margin to where they still had to analyze the photo finish for about 10 minutes. Before then, she won in a 5 furlong race back in November. That was her maiden for 35,000 and won by 4.5 lengths. My second pick in this field is the number 3, Whimsical Here. My apologies if I mispronounced that name. This mare is 5 years old, and she's only had 9 starts as a 5-year-old mare, but it's not really that important as long as she can get on the board, or for those of you that are playing to win, to get up onto the board on top. She is the favorite, though, at 7-5. I hate picking favorites, but this horse went out at 6 furlongs last time in an optional claiming of $20,000 on August 8th at Del Mar. She lost by 13 lengths and came in 4th. But prior to that, she ran in the same type of race at Santa Anita, and she came in 3rd, 2 3/4 lengths off. Earlier in April, though, at a 5.5 furlong race, she won going away by 6.5 lengths in a $16,000 race. So, could the extra $4,000 be of somewhat important? There's a possibility. Also, a note that was written here on the 22nd was that this horse was chased 3 wide. So she went 3 wide and was chasing them and still won, bumped the turn and angled in. So she's got some good potential there in this field and probably might win too. But your betting dollar is what we're looking for here. So if you want value, go for Dr. Ray D. If you want a higher chance of winning, go for Whimsical Hare. I don't like favorites. In the third race, 6 furlongs on the turf, $25,000 claiming price tag for non-winners of 2 lifetime. And then it's a 22,500 allowed if they're 2 pounds, which is also at the rail at 30 feet. So 6 furlongs at Santa Anita. There's always that dirt crossing now for sprints. Any type of sprint at Santa Anita, unless it's 5 furlongs, you're going to be going across the dirt. I believe, yes, the 5 furlong starting area is on the turf, so you won't have to cross there. My top selection is the number 7, Isabel Ludlow, 4-year-old filly. Steve Miotti with the training job, and Kyle Frey with the riding assignment. This filly ran out on the dirt up here at Pleasanton in a $25,000 maiden, but the thing about Pleasanton races is that the fields up here are a lot more difficult, or a lot easier to win in than down at Santa Anita. But when we look at this, she ran not only at Pleasanton, but also ran at Sacramento at 1.16 miles and lost by 4.5 lengths in 4th. This filly ran at Golden Gate earlier in the year in May at 5 furlongs, put up 57, and came in 2nd, 3.5 lengths off. But in my opinion, that distance could be good for her, although she did come down in May earlier and ran in a 6 furlong race, so maybe the dirt crossing just didn't really do anything well for her. She came in 5th, but was placed 4th through a disqualification. So 4.5 lengths was the margin that she lost by. No, she didn't do amazingly in that race, but there's always room for improvement. And with Steve Miotti coming down here, he might have a pretty good chance. My second pick is the number 6, who's the favorite. Stayed at Santa Anita, hasn't raced since January of this year in a 6.5 furlong race for $25,000 price tag. This horse has been doing workouts on the dirt, and they're not amazing, but this horse does have some good breeding from a Fleet Alex out of Rosehill Daw, who's an Irish horse, so that's turf pedigree. And in my opinion, she just may have some potential of beating this field. Should she be the favorite? Probably not. Red Diamond is the name of the horse, and in my opinion, she probably doesn't even have that big of a chance to win. But before she ran in October of last year in a $32,000 and came in 2nd, 3 1/4 lengths off of the winner. Now this layoff could be pretty well, as Ronald McCannally His stats are 27% of all his horses that have been 90 days away from racing. He's had 27% of them win. So, that's a pretty good average when you think about it in the perspective of, can this horse do well? So 7-6 for me in the third event. Moving on to the fourth, a 1 mile on the dirt for maidens 3, 4, and 5 years old. Maiden claiming for $40,000 and the purse of $26,500. In this race, I had a very difficult time picking 2 horses, so I unfortunately had to go for 3. So your exacta ticket might be a little more pricey than it should be. My apologies for that. Put the number 4 on top, Mongolian Gold. Now, a lot of people that are maybe looking at the form right now and watching this would probably say that I'm insane. But when I was at Santa Anita earlier in June, I saw this horse who was 20-1, went off at 20-1, was a first-time gelding and absolutely destroyed the field. And when I was watching simulcasts, whenever I was a couple weeks ago, there was a first-time gelding that was entered into a race, and absolutely also destroyed the field. He was at I think 10 or 12-1 or something, a good price. So I'm thinking that Mongolian Gold could potentially continue this streak of first-time geldings absolutely destroying fields. This horse sure doesn't have any real good races. Closest ever was in a 41,000 sprint at Los Alamitos, 6.5 furlongs, $41,000 was the maiden purse, and it wasn't really that. Well, $41,000 races at Los Alamitos aren't exactly the most strong fields, because they're using all their horses that have run down at their nighttime meets, or their continuous nighttime meet that ends in December and then they come back. But I'll put Mongolian Gold on top there. And then my second pick will be the number 2, Bearings, who's the favorite. Ran on the dirt last time at Saratoga for $40,000. Came in second, 2.25 lengths off. And I think did pretty well there, considering that Saratoga is a very high-class track compared to any other track. Santa Anita also is a very high-class track. You only can have very good horses running compared to these up here at Northern California. Number 1, Daddy Justify, will be my third pick. She's from Justify, which is already a reason why to bet her. Or him, excuse me. Also is a gelding. And raced at Del Mar in September for a mile. $40,000. Came in third, 7 lengths away. Now, he was stalking the pace and then just weakened at the end. If there was more gas in the tank, he probably would have won. But I know this horse very well. I've kept up with this horse, and I know what this horse is capable of doing. And he could probably win here. He's got so far 3 in a row of minor placings, and I think that he could do pretty well there. So for me, it'll be 4, 2, and 1 for the 4th race. Moving on into the 5th, a 1 mile on the turf, $25,000 for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. My top pick will be the 7, Sariha, I think. I would believe that that's how it's pronounced. Went out and has continuously been hitting the board or winning up here at Golden Gate. Went down to Del Mar and also did pretty well. Just the last race, I believe it was I think it was the last race that is in this horse's past performances at Golden Gate, if I'm not wrong, and she lost by 16 lengths and came in 7th out of what was a field of 10 or 12. I'm not too certain. I can't remember off the top of my head. That was a long time ago. So this horse likes the turf. Can he run down in Southern California? Can she run down in Southern California? Definitely. She's run at Del Mar on August 23rd, which was about a month ago, a little over a month ago. And, she's got some good pedigree also. My second pick will be the number 5, Chasing Serendipity. Also likes the turf, but can be very, it's not very consistent on the turf, though. At one point, this horse is hitting the board. The next point, she's running dead last up the track. But she has been running against not very strong fields also, but they're pretty strong. She's been staying around the $25,000 price tag for the past 4 starts. Or 5 starts, now. With this next race. And I think that she can probably prevail here again and pick up a nice check. Moving on into the 6th race, which is a mile on the dirt, an optional claiming of $20,000, 9 winners of 1. And there's only a field of 4 here, and the main reason is because there's a horse by the name of Pure Madness, who's the number 5, who was scared away the entire field. And by entire field, I mean all the entrants who wanted to run in this. But I don't understand why the trainer Brian Coriner is entering this horse into this race. Personally, I'd wait for tomorrow and try and get a better race, but it may be that he's experimenting with dirt because this horse ran, well, first of all, this horse can win at any distance on any surface pretty much, except for in a stakes race when he ran on August 2nd at 7 furlongs at Del Mar in the, I have no idea what that stakes race is, the Del Mar, Real Good Del Mar something. Might be just the Real Good Del Mar listed stakes, I don't know. But he ran 2nd, 5 3/4 lengths off. So this could be a potential experiment for Corinne O'Brien, and you don't want to just enter a horse and then lose immediately because of being outnumbered. So experiment races are always something good to look at, and that's the case for this horse. Last time ran on August 31st in an optional claiming of $20,000 on the turf at a mile and a 16th. Put up 142, which is a good pace in my opinion. Won by a length and a quarter with Tyler Bays. By the way, in that other race that this horse lost, so far this horse actually is 2 for 1, so 2 wins and a second out of the 3 starts. Espinosa was riding in the one race in which this colt lost by 5 3/4. But Victor Espinosa doesn't get that many mounts anymore. It's, for some reason, I don't understand why. Maybe he just doesn't want to be riding anymore or something along those lines. Not very certain, but Victor is definitely a very good jockey, in my opinion, and one of the best also. Moving on into the 7th race. 1 mile on the turf, optional claiming price tag of $80,000. And in this race, I'm actually thinking about putting the 2 on top for two reasons. First, this horse ran in the Del Mar Derby earlier in September and didn't do amazingly. Ran fifth, 3.5 lengths away. But before ran on the turf at a mile and a 16th in an $80,000, same conditions, and lost by only half a length. Put up a time of 1:43 for a 1/16th, or lost with a 1:43. So about a 1:43 and 6 or so was the time that this colt put up. My second pick will be the number 9, Rastaman Vibe. And this horse runs decently in these races of 80,000, 100,000. Tried to run down the hill in the desert coat and doesn't like sprinting from this angle of looking at it. This horse will be a midfield runner and will be somewhere in the midfield, it looks like. And Hernandez continues to pick up the mount for Peter Urton, excuse me. Horse likes the turf and likes going at a good distance of a mile, so routing very good for this horse. The next race, the 8th race, 1 mile, $10,000 claiming. I had a very difficult time handicapping this field, as the lower end fields are always more complicated to deal with because you're always looking at horses that are not very good and are just trying to find a spot to win some money so you don't have to pay more, and keeping the horse at the location of where you're at the barn or whatever. So, as my top selection in this race, I put the number 5 on. What a Dude. Is a gelding, raced in a 12,500 up at Santa Rosa, and successfully picked up a check there. Now the question only is that can this horse run down at Santa Anita and win in a race that's $2,500 less than Santa Rosa? I think so, in my opinion, but 7-2 morning line is not too bad. My second pick in this race is the number 3, Vanzi, with 2 Z's. Last time out, raced in an 8,000 on the dirt and lost by 2 lengths in second. By the way, going back to What a Dude, I always like to look at turf to dirt. If this horse is going from turf to dirt, that's always something good to look at. This horse ran once on the dirt at Santa Anita in a $50,000, clearly unmatched, and unsurprisingly, this horse ran 8th, 39 lengths away. Now, Kyle Frey, I don't think has ever been on this horse before, so it'll be definitely a learning experience for him to observe and try and figure out a way to maneuver through. Going back up to Vanzi here, ran once on the dirt at Santa Anita in May in a $50,000, and what a shocking answer here. Came in 8th, 53 lengths off of the winning time, or off the winner, and the time was 1:36. Also, this horse ran in the American in April and in June at Santa Anita. First in April of 2023, then in June of 2022. Both times did not do anything real well there. Came in 6th the second time, 6.5 lengths off, and then came in 9th, 6.25 lengths off. But this horse ran on the turf in April of 2022 in the San Fran Grade 3 and only lost by half a length in second. But that was 2 years ago. So this horse has definitely changed over that time. moving on into the final race of the day, the 9th race, which is a mile on the turf. My top selection will be the number 4 here, Kiss for Lulu. Has gone out on the turf twice in his life and was in a higher class field both times, staying around the mid-60s range in both of those occasions. Last time was at Santa Anita on December 31st last year and lost by a head. And then on December 1st at Del Mar, lost by 3.5 lengths in third. This horse did run recently on August 11th at Del Mar in a 6 furlong on the dirt for $75,000 in the maiden. Came in 5th, 11 lengths off. But this horse did like the turf earlier on last year, almost a year ago in fact. What are we at? 10 or so months? 11? No, 9 months. Somewhere in that region of time. My second pick, I had a very tough time trying to pick a horse. There was Fight Back, was the number 8. I'd give an honorable mention for. Raced in 75,000s at 1 mile and came in 5th every single time. And in June ran in a 54,000 and came in 5th, 2.25 lengths off. I was actually also there for that race, and it was an interesting race to say the least. I remember Spot Doro ran away and was up by like 10 lengths at the top of the backstretch. But my second pick will be Blame the Classic, number 5. He's got Espinosa on him, which is one thing. He's run in $75,000 races. And I was dropping down in class substantially to just break the maiden. Both times this horse ran at a mile and a 16th. Came in 3rd, 2.25 lengths off in the mile race, and then on a 1.16 came in 2nd, a 1.5 lengths off. Both those races were with this Victor Espinosa on top. So that's pretty much it for this Friday's program, which is going to be coming up eventually, very soon. Hopefully these picks have influenced your betting, and hope that you can pick a couple of winners and successfully come back home with more money than you came to the track with. In the meantime, this is Matt Krikorian, and I wish you good luck at the races tomorrow, or today, at Santa Anita.